Hi, welcome aboard. Toyota's worldwide success in producing quality, beautifully designed and relevant and durable vehicles for the masses is well known. And obviously it's due to a large number of combined factors, among them being the fact that their build quality for all of their cars is absolutely superb, and another one being the fact that Toyota are very careful in targeting areas of the market which they perceive through their research are going to be successful and well patronised. And for that reason, they've become a world force in saloons and sedans of all kinds, in commercial vehicles such as vans and light utilities, and of course in their magnificent range of four-wheel drives. Now, they recently released a vehicle which moved away from the normal Toyota market level, and that was the Toyota Rav4. And it's revolutionary in a number of ways, and Chris Booth of Toyota in Brisbane made this RAV available to us to assess. Now, I was very interested in this vehicle because it falls into a category which is a brand new one. In fact, this car makes its own market niche, if you know what I mean. It's not of a size to compare with others, although it may initially look that way. And the way in which it's set up, its dynamics, its technology and its engineering are completely new for this particular type of vehicle. Now, it's a small four-wheel drive which is styled along the lines of modern saloons, and that gets away from that sort of Jeep look that four-wheel drives up until now have had. Now, I don't necessarily mind that Jeep look, but for the area of the market into which this car is aimed, the styling, which I would, if you like, call urban styling, is certainly extremely appropriate. Now, they didn't just put a standard chassis underneath the car, standard running gear and an ordinary engine. They went right to the beginning and designed a new car from the ground up. It has a 2-litre transverse engine which drives full-time four-wheel drivetrain. Now, there's no hub locks in this car. The car is in four-wheel drive, absolutely full-time, which is a great advantage. And it also has a most unusual suspension setup. Now, as with most people, I didn't bother reading the instructions before I drove the car. If all else fails, read the instructions. And I must admit, I was in a little bit of a hurry when I picked the car up, so I just leapt in it at Acacia Ridge and drove off. And the first thing that struck me was its road holding and particularly its handling qualities. Now, any four-wheel drive with a relatively high centre of gravity such as this, with a very short wheelbase, you would expect a hobby horse. In other words, bob its nose up and down. Even the large four-wheel drives do that. And you would also expect it to have a degree of body roll in corners. Now, neither of those things happened. In fact, this car felt taut. It felt just like a thoroughbred sports car to me on the road. And on investigation, I found the reason for that. Toyota have engineered 4-point independent suspension into this motor car, dual wishbones and McPherson struts in each corner of the car, and of course that imparts a degree of behaviour as far as the body is concerned in relation to the forces that are exerted on it by the bumps and undulations in the road, which really is in thoroughbred sports car class. This car has astonishing handling. It does not have body roll, it doesn't have that hobby horsing, it behaves impeccably regardless of how hard you push it and regardless of how sharp the corner is. In fact, I suspect that this car would be capable of almost racetrack performance, to the extent where I'm fairly game, I reckon, but there's no way that I could push the RAV anywhere near the limits of its road holding on average corners, apart from the fact that that would be grossly illegal. It comes with a number of options, of course. One of the options being instead of the 5-speed manual gearbox, there is a 4-speed electronically controlled dual mode automatic gearbox, and that's the gearbox that's in this car. I found it very easy to live with this gearbox. It seems to know exactly what is required in any particular mode and handles the job beautifully. I would be interested to drive a 5-speed manual because I think that would certainly add to the sporty look and feel of the Rav4. Now, the Rav was first introduced in Japan as a concept vehicle in 1989. It's been released in Europe and in other parts of the world. Australia is pretty well the last country to see the Rav, And over those 5 or so years, the basic styling and the basic concept of the car have been modified quite considerably to make it fit squarely into that urban four-wheel drive slot. Now, there are no doubts about this car's off-road capabilities. It would certainly be capable of handling virtually any terrain, as you can see from these shots here, where we found a very sharp little rise off the edge of the road, and you can see how wonderfully it handled that, and also the fact that the overhangs are so low that you would have no troubles whatsoever with ground clearance either inside or outside of the wheelbase. But this car will be driven by young people in the urban situation. It has the great advantage of having a high seating position, which in my opinion is one of the most important safety points in any motor car. The further you can sit off the road, the more you will see and the more safely you will be able to drive and conduct the car in traffic. So it will be an urban car. It'll have the advantages of four-wheel drive and that magnificent road holding to make it easier and safer to drive, and also the great added benefit of being able to go off-road in virtually any conditions at will. So there it is. The Rav4 is a tour de force for Toyota, and I should also mention that its overall safety, road holding and handling are greatly enhanced by the fact that it's fitted with ABS anti-lock braking system. Now, this vehicle establishes a new category, and it's a category of vehicle which I'm sure will be hugely popular with people all over Australia and all over the world. We'll be back right after this break.